And welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon, and today I am here with Link Moser. Link, thank you for taking some time to be with me today.
Thank you for having me, Michael. I'm really excited to be here.
Oh, you are so welcome. It is going to be a fantastic conversation because you and I speak of the same language in a lot of ways, and so I'm really, really excited. So Link is he's a long-term marketer. He's done a lot of things with website development. He's run different companies. He's got a lot of cool interests. One's like, hot cars that we haven't talked about yet, but we need to. But he's really here today as he helps business owners understand the strategy around marketing and the implementation of that strategy, whether Link does it or whether you have somebody else doing it, it's okay. It's strategy over tactics, or strategy before tactics, probably. And that's what we're going to dive into today, to talk about how do you connect the dots in your marketing to make it more effective. So Link, that's where I want to go. But before we go there, let me ask you, how did you get to where you are today?
That's a fun question for me because it takes us all the way back to about 1995. And I'm guessing that you remember that the internet was not what it was back then as it is. And we're talking early dial-up days, AOL, Prodigy, CompuServe, that sort of stuff. I'm dating myself a bit here.
I'm in there, yeah. So easy to use. No wonder it's number one.
I was 20 years old. I was just a few years out of high school, and I'd always had a bit of an affinity for technology, but I was just doing a little freelance graphic design work, and somebody said to me, "Hey, Link, you ought to design websites." And I said, I don't really know how to do that. And then, at the time there wasn't a lot of websites, and I thought about it for a while, and I thought, well, how else do you find out how to do something in a pre-YouTube environment? You get in your car and you drive to the bookstore.
Yeah.
Books on web design weren't making it to libraries yet, nor were they making it to even college courses. So I bought a book called Teach Yourself HTML in 14 Days.
Wow.
I went through it and okay, this makes sense. So I pitched the idea of building a website to a local real estate company I was working with, and they were one of the first in the area, and it just kind of took off from there.
Awesome. That's very, very cool. So how do you take that website development to pivoting to what you're doing now, helping business owners with strategy? How did that transition take place?
That transition took place over a lot more years. And, in the beginning, website design was very custom, and it was not as easy as it is today. So it did require the hand coding that took place. And I would say probably around the 2007, 2009 downturn was kind of a merging of, not only were people being more cautious about their marketing spend, which they always seem to be anyway, but technology had caught up, and the age of WordPress and content management systems, it became a lot easier to build a website. And never mind the globalization that was taking place, that you could hire someone halfway around the world to help you do this. So building websites became more of a commodity product. And at the same time, social media was on the scene, mobile phones. I mean, the depth of the tools, if you will, or the tactics in marketing getting wider and wider. And I found that business owners, including myself, struggled to keep up with all of that. And it's sort of we see something new, we see a shiny object, and we think, boom, that's where I need to be. I've got to go and get on the latest platform, or build an app, or create a podcast, or whatever it is. And sometimes we start running before we walk, or we just jump on that and get part of the way through, and it stalls out. So that's kind of what would bridge me to. And plus, I was also losing clients because somebody else would be providing another shiny object that would catch their attention, and you'd lose the relationship because a lot of web work looked like a commodity product, and people like, I can find a guy to do WordPress anywhere.
That's right. Yeah, a lot cheaper too.
Yes.
And it's all it matters, I got a website. Sorry, I met that guy once. So let's dive down and talk about business owners today, and where the struggle is between What I would, yeah, what we talked about, strategy versus tactics. What's going on in business for a normal business owner? What are they doing, and what should they be doing first? Maybe, like, if that's a fair question, right? What do you see happening out there?
I see marketing is one of those things that we all struggle with. I will be the first to admit that my marketing is probably not as good as some of my clients' marketing. You know, we're victims of the cobbler's shoes. And a lot of businesses, the marketing is done by the owner, it's done by an admin, it's done by a web designer or an agency. In many cases, it's being done by a lot of different people, or certainly more than one. It's very rare that it's done by, oh, I don't know how to mute that thing, so I'll let it ring
All right.
out.
It's all right.
Then we can edit it, right?
It's all right. We're
Oh,
good.
there we go. Sorry. So the marketing is being done by multiple people, and not all of those people are following a plan. So I guess I'll use the analogy. If you're going to go for a road trip, you're more than likely going to have a plan. You know, we're not in the age of bringing a paper map, but you'd probably go online and look at destinations and figure how long it takes and how to get there. You wouldn't just get in the car and take off for the day. I mean, unless you were just going for a ride, but you don't know where it would take you. And the same thing kind of happens with marketing, is if we jump in the proverbial car and we start driving down one road, it might get us to somewhere that's interesting, but it might not. I've done this with my kids. We've gone out trying to explore and they get frustrated and bored, and Dad, where are we going? We don't have a plan. So I'm seeing that all these people that are helping with the marketing tactics are executing in a reactionary way.
Yep.
The business owner says, hey, Link, I'd like to add a new web form to our site. Okay, so we're reacting and we're doing that. That's and again, maybe not the best example as to a strategy, but there isn't what I've not seen is a client that says, here's my roadmap.
Yep.
I need your help getting me from point A to B.
Yep.
With specific tactics. I've not seen that. And I'm willing to bet it doesn't exist in most companies.
In most cases. And the question that I ask a lot of business owners when they're starting to talk about, I need to be on TikTok, or I need a YouTube channel, or I need and my first question is why? Help me understand why you need that, and where does it fit into your plan, right? And that's when I get the deer in the headlights. Well, I saw a webinar. I went to a program. I bought this. Okay, I don't care. Why? Where does it fit into the plan, the blueprint, the roadmap, as you mentioned, right? So if that's where people are, how do you help them as you work with people? What's it look like working with you?
We start to map that out. And I think it starts from several conversations, but initially let's just have a conversation about you and your business. Number one, do you want to grow this thing? Mm-hmm. You know, that's sort of assumed, but it needs to be stated. What does growth look like? How much growth are you looking for? And in what type of growth? You may, it also backs up to who do you serve and what problems do they have that you provide solutions to, either through your products or services. And what does that persona look like, that buyer persona? And then tell me what it's like for that person from the point they don't know who you are to the point they are out there referring you. And so that's referred to as the customer funnel, the buyer journey, the customer life cycle, whatever term you want to give it. What does that look like? Because the customer is going through these stages. And I like to use the analogy of dating. You wouldn't just meet a stranger and propose marriage typically. So when you meet a customer, off of a cold lead, you're probably not going to get the best results laying down your most high ticket item.
Right. Yeah.
You're going to want to date that prospect through content, through establishing trust, maybe a small micro offer.
Sure.
Maybe a free web paper or something download, or a coupon or something in exchange for an email address. So you're having these micro transactions. And I think I'm willing to say that this holds true whether you're B2B, B2C, because I heard this once, that we are all people selling to people.
Totally. People buy people.
People buy people. That's right. And especially in today's world where trust and authenticity are key. you've got to have that, and you don't want to rush the process because you're going to scare them off. So you're doing different things and you have different tactics along that journey. And
Yeah.
whether that's paid advertising, whether it's an email newsletter, whether it's podcast, those are all the tools in the toolbox, and it's a big toolbox.
Yeah.
But that's where, it's a different answer for everyone, depending on where they want to be, who they're helping. And the great thing is many people are doing some of this already. So where I get excited is to see, where can we find some gaps that maybe you're doing it, or maybe, here's a great example. Somebody's sitting on a large email list that's not doing a lot with it.
Yep.
There is gold in that list.
That's right.
When done correctly. And and so we don't have to lay all these tools out, because it's overwhelming, as you know, right, Michael? It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned the list. I talk to my audience all the time about it. Your list is your number one asset in business, but most businesses have a list. They're not doing anything with it. I call it a dormant database.
Yes.
And my question is, how do you breathe life into that dormant database? And that's where Link can come in and help you with some strategies, because it's not one email. It's not sign up for my newsletter.
Correct.
It's a process of dating, as he would say, to engage them in a variety of ways, using a variety of different media, where you, the business owner, are not doing it. You should be the CEO of your company. You should be visionary. You should be, here's what I want to do and where I want to go. And you bring people like Link to the table to go, Link, help me think through this. And now let's go make that happen. Go do it. I'm going to focus on what I need to focus on. Is that how you kind of come in and help as you have those conversations with business owners?
Yeah, it's spot on. And I'm flexible enough that we can tweak that model a little, but you're right that most CEOs should be focused on the strategy and driving the bus. And many of them, unless they came from a marketing background, may not be the best fit to be driving that. They may have sort of fallen into that role, or may have had some poor hires. I do see companies trying to hire their way out of that and hiring, a full-time in-house marketing manager that is usually at a pay level that is going to be more entry level, who is probably going to be very good at executing some of the tactics, but may not bring the strategy piece. So unless someone else has provided the strategy, that is not going to work too well, because somebody will need to train that person.
Yeah.
And if the owner is just, hey, I want this marketing off my plate, we've got a budget for, 50 grand a year, let's go hire someone, plop them right in this seat here, they're gonna, it's gonna be tough.
It's going to cost you about 100 grand to put a 50 grand person who's uneducated and untrained there. So
it can, yeah. And that's where, I think the sweet spot for me is the companies that don't have the budgets to hire a full-time CMO or an entire suite of people in-house. Certainly there are agencies out there that can do a lot of this, but finding a good fit is hard, because so many of them are better salespeople than they are executioners. I hate to say it.
Well, and the other thing with sometimes you become a number, and it feels like with you, they're not that. They become kind of like just family, because you're going to be working with them on an ongoing basis. I assume you have weekly or biweekly check-ins with people, and you talk. And I love, when you go to Link's website, you can just tell he's a laid back, humble guy. And you go to his about page, he's like, when I'm writing my own about page, I don't really feel too comfortable doing that, because I'm just a humble guy. And I'm like, I like that about him. So it's you're getting somebody that you can probably just have Thanksgiving dinner with, or go out to coffee with, talking with, who really understands strategy and how to start pulling things together. There are a lot of business owners who are doing some things they probably don't need to be doing. And I like to help clients. One of my favorite phrases to a client is, stop it. Stop doing that. Stop spending money there. You're not getting any return. I don't care if all your peers tell you to do it. Stop it. And let's pull back. Let's build a strategy, and then let's slowly implement what is going to work. And they're like, oh. So I'm sure you've had experiences like that, and that's what you help people do.
I'm a frugal Yankee here, Michael. I am the last person that wants to be in a long line of people that says, come spend a bunch of money with me, and I don't want it to be an expense. I want there to be an ROI. If we can, if someone's already got some marketing budget that is not earning its keep, then let's look at how we can pivot that. I mean, every dollar's got to earn its worth, and it's got to be held accountable, both whatever someone compensates me as well as the cost of the tactics. I mean, it's all got to, at the end of the day, generate a positive ROI. And if it isn't, we got to pivot.
Yep. Yeah. I tell my audience all the time is every time I hire a person and train them well, when it's a good hire, or when we hire a vendor, a coach, whatever it is, and it's the good one, I make my revenue goes up. All right. Because I'm not doing it. They're experts at what they do. I've delegated properly. We've trained them. They understand who we are. They're executing in their expertise. It's helping me leverage time to do other things in my business. And so, yes, there are investments and costs in everything we do, but what's the cost if you don't? What's the cost if you, business owner, keep doing that? There's an opportunity cost and an exhaustion cost because that's not your strong suit. So, Link, you don't know this about me, but my audience does, is that I'm only good at 4 things in life. 4 things, period. I'm wicked good at these 4 things. Outside of that, I am mediocre at best. Okay. I've learned to hire people to do all that other stuff so that I can stay in my lane and our business continues to grow year after year after year because of that. So I really, and I'm a marketing guy, just like you. I have 3 marketing coaches that look at my business because I'm too close to it. Right. So that's why I always encourage my audience to hire people. Get involved with Link. Check him out. See if he's a good fit for you. See if he can help you, because you all need it. Stop trying to do it yourself. Don't be a solopreneur unless that's just what you want to be. Build a business. And part of building a business is having teams, resources, people that do things better than you and allow you to focus on your high payoff activities. So go Link, tell them where to find you. If this resonates with them at all, I know your website. What's your website? How do they connect with you?
Yeah, I'm not, with a name like Link, I'm not too hard to find on the internet. So the easiest way is to go right to my website at linkmoser.com. That's linkmoser.com. You can contact me through there, but I'm probably not too hard to find on LinkedIn as well.
I love it. That is really good because, yeah, you got a very unique name. And so check him out, Link Moser, MOSER.com. That'll be in the show notes and everything. But check it out because you don't need to be doing this yourself, right? And you need counsel. And whether you call him and have a conversation and y'all realize, yeah, that it's just not going to work or I'm not ready. Okay, that's okay. Link's the type of guy who will take that call and spend 25 minutes with you and say, okay, here's what I think you need to do. And I think what you'll probably find is more times than not, you're going to say, I like that guy. Let's have another call. Let's figure this thing out. And he's going to look and be able to see the gaps in your marketing. And a lot of times what I find is when I find those gaps, their marketing spend doesn't actually go up when they hire me because I'm saving them money in other places that just aren't producing the result. And we're able to leverage that. And so don't think that this is going to be another expense. No, it's going to be an investment in your business and in your marketing that's going to pay handsome dividends, not just 1 year, but multiple years, because Link is a strategist. He helps you build that roadmap for the future. So
yeah,
I hope I said that accurately.
You did. Absolutely.
Good deal.
I'd love to have those conversations. And you're right. Sometimes if there's enough fat on the balance sheet, some pivot can be a cost saving measure with a better ROI.
Absolutely. It takes a separate set of eyes sometimes to look in. So, Link, thank you for being my guest. It's really, really exciting what you do because you're a strategist and you can help implement or bring people to the table or use whatever. Just reach out to him, Link Moser, MOSER, linkmoser.com. Check him out. See how he could help you connect the dots in your marketing to create a better roadmap so you get better results and enjoy life a whole lot more. So, Link, thanks for being here today, man.
Thank you.